Hi, I'm Lisa with Channel 6 Central Kentucky TV, community focus on Washington County. And today we're happy to have with us Teresa Marnin, who is our new Washington County clerk. And did I pronounce that correctly?
Perfectly, actually. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Teresa, because that is a hard last name to pronounce. It is Irish.
Yes.
And it is spelled M-E-R-R, I mean
M-A-R-R-I-N-A-N.
I-N-A-N. Marnin.
Marnin. But that was perfect.
So, Teresa, we had we've been wanting to interview you, of course, since the election, which was November of last year.
Yes.
Soon be time for another election. Not yours, luckily.
Great, yes, greatly. But yes.
And so, because you just started your first term as the Washington County clerk, and you are, you of course worked in the office prior to that.
Yes, I worked there for 25 years prior. So,
so you have a lot of experience.
Yes, yes, I do.
You didn't have to learn probably too much going into
the
position.
Luckily not. Luckily not. I've been blessed to work there. It's been really great to me. So
yeah. So you worked under, of course, starting out with Bubba Robertson.
Yes, Mr. Bubba Robertson, and then Mr. Glenn Black.
And then Glenn Black. So you think about Bubba was there. How many terms?
I think it was 33 years, but I'm not positive. But several.
And during the terms you were there, probably he served maybe at least 1 or 2 terms while you were there.
3.
3.
3.
Okay.
3 terms, and then
Glenn, those are 4-year terms. So that's 16, 4, 8, 12 years. And then Glenn Black came in.
And he had 4 terms.
And he had 4 terms. And so, golly. You think you're going to serve how many terms?
I'm not sure. I do love the job, and I appreciate getting the opportunity to be county clerk. But I kind of not really focused on that right now.
Yeah.
But
1 term at a time, right?
I'm not real political, but
yeah.
It's been really good to me, and I strive to do a good job. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well. So you, of course, that was the first time you had to campaign and all.
That's right. That's right.
I can't say, I know some people, myself personally, I enjoy campaigning because you get the opportunity to meet people and go door to door and find out what is on the minds of your constituents.
Actually, I did enjoy the door to door better. I got better at speeches and that part of it, but I did enjoy getting out in the county and actually just going door to door.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that more.
Yeah.
So,
and you find out, well, I've known you so and so all these years, but I didn't know where you lived.
Right.
Now you do.
And our county's a lot bigger than you realize when you're driving door to door.
It really is.
It's a lot bigger.
Yeah. So, but luckily now the campaign is over and you've settled in, and so I'd like to ask you, for those that don't know, just what the duties are of the county clerk.
Which we have several duties. There's some that don't come around very often and don't really affect the public. The main thing everyone sees us for is your motor vehicle transfers and registrations for your cars, trucks, your boats. So we see, most of the time that's who we see, why we see you. But we also, if you need your marriage license, if you need a hunting fishing license, if you come in just a question on your land records, we do record all the land records. So if you have a question on your deed or your property line or your mortgage, we do handle the election, which a lot of that, other than someone coming in to register to vote, which there's a lot of different avenues to do that now, instead of just coming into office and filling out a card, which you still can do. But we handle the local elections on the local level, and that's a big part. That's a big undertaking. You start that. It's not just that day. You start, like I've already started working on getting some, make sure my precinct workers are available and trying to recruit anybody else that's interested. in doing that.
Well, there's always a need for precinct workers, and then, you know, you are required at each precinct, and we have
The 14 precincts.
14 precincts, and you're required at those precincts to have 4 workers.
4 workers, yes.
2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. So the precinct workers do get paid, but it's a pretty big undertaking.
It's quite involved. I mean, you know, there's a lot of responsibility, which we always, you know, we're there to back them up during the day, but it's a long day. I mean, you're looking at 5 a.m. to maybe sometimes 7 p.m.
Right.
So it's a long day. You got to stay there, and if it's, you know, a low turnout, you've got a lot of time on your hand. If it's a big turnout, which we always hope for, you know, you're working pretty nonstop.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And those workers have to take a little training.
We have before every election we have a training. It's usually about an hour and a half, but it goes through all the rules and the machines, how to operate those, and just also how they can call us, or there's some other avenues where if they have questions or if the voter has a question. It's kind of informative, shows them, you know, the information they can give to the voter if they have any questions. And
so they get paid for the training, not very much. What?
Currently, for the day, it's $110. I'm looking, and I think I've got them a $10 raise for the day, and then they get $20 for their meeting trading. So, so hopefully, you know, but you know, everybody's budgets are tight, but hopefully
that's a little extra income for people, especially retired people. You know that. You know, might and it's a way to get out and see people.
That's right. They'll see a lot of people that live in their area and get to socialize with the other workers, and
because you get to try to place the workers at the precinct. I know you try. Yes. You can't.
You do the best you can, but to try to do the regulation of the 2 different parties, sometimes you have to move them around a little bit to get that to work out.
Yeah. And you know, that way when someone comes in, they can vouch for who they are when they're their neighbors and they know them.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, they can do it if they know them personally. You know, we do have the ID requirement where you know, if they don't know you, any of the precincts don't know you, that you have to prove your identity with some type of ID.
Yeah. And are there certain IDs that are required, Teresa?
Well, we like the driver's license, but we also use a work ID if it has a photo. School ID will work as well, passport.
Okay.
But we like to have the photo ID if possible.
Yeah. And as you said, maybe sometimes, you know, there's people that can vouch for you, and
that all is documented, like. Whoever vouches, if they know them personally, they actually have to
document.
Sign. Yeah. So there's always a checks and balance. On that.
Well, of course, you know, there's always been all this talk about voter fraud, but I think all the studies point to the fact that is really pretty rare.
Well, I know there's a lot of talk about people that are on the voter registration books. But that doesn't necessarily mean they go to vote. Like, you know, if there's people that have passed away and, you know, they haven't been removed yet, that doesn't mean just because they're on the roster, you still have to have that checks and balances of who you know, who's coming in to vote.
Right.
So you know,
if someone who's 80 years old has passed away, and you have someone that comes in to say that they're that person, they'd have to show their ID and also look like the ID.
And they, you know, they can check the gender, the date of birth. There's a great checks and balances. There is a good system. I feel, you know, that you can always work on a system and make things better, but I feel like in Kentucky we have a good system.
Yeah.
Yes.
And gosh. And I guess we need to talk too, Teresa, about eligibility to vote. How does that?
If you're not 18 yet, but you're going to be 18. I guess I'm backtracking for the primary, which we're getting ready to have our general election. But say you're not 18 by the time the primary comes around. If you're going to be 18 by the general election, you can vote in a primary. But you just have to, reside in the county and prove that you are a resident of the county, and you're 18 years old, and that you're a citizen.
Yeah.
And there's always the checks for that. People worried about people that aren't a citizen about being able to register, but there's checks and balances for that as well. So.
So if you're a non-citizen, you can get a driver's license.
Correct.
But so what if someone comes in and they have a driver's license? How do you know they're a citizen?
Well, basically,
does their driver's license say that?
No, it does not. It does not. Which I know they're going to the new license that would be better, and whenever that gets implemented in our county. But really, basically, they're signing the card that they, are not. It has the little disclaimer about that.
Whether or not you're a citizen.
It's got all the checks and balances on that.
And so, do sometimes, if you have a question about that, the poll worker
they can definitely
ask for a citizenship verification, or
not normally. If there's a question, we always try to get the poll workers to take that off them to direct it to us, and then if there is a question where we can always call the Secretary of State's office to do some type. But I mean, they can, if they feel like there is a discrepancy, yes, they can call us, but we try to get them.
You can contact the Secretary of State's
and
office
ask them,
and get more specifics.
Correct.
I see. Okay. And so now, what about the deadlines coming up for registration and different things like that, voter registration?
October 7th is the deadline to register for the upcoming
general election, which is going to be on November the 5th.
November the 5th.
So there's not much time left there to register to vote.
If you can't get into our office and you can't get into the other agencies, you can actually go online. There's a link through the Secretary of State's website, which their website is sos.ky.gov, and there's a link to the govotekentucky.com. So you can very easily go online and register, and then we will get that and process it.
It'll come to your office, and then you would get something in the mail.
We would put them in the system, and then they would get a notification of where their voting precinct is. Or if everything wasn't filled out correctly, if we need additional information, if the electronic signature was missing, we would also, on the notification, it'll state on there what additional information we need from them.
So do you send that out, or the Secretary of State?
Well, when we process them in the system, it generates a card through the state level.
I see.
And then gets sent out.
And it goes to the voter.
Yes.
Because I know, I've run across people before who, think they've registered to vote, but then they'll say, well, I'll say, well, you should have received a notice in the mail as to where it is you go to vote.
Yes.
And so they should expect that
probably within 4 weeks or so. It just depends on the cycle of when they get processed, but yeah.
So it's possible that if someone registered to vote, say on October the 5th, right before the cutoff on October the 7th, then they might not get that in the mail prior to the election.
Maybe not, but
they could just call your office.
Yes, they can verify it through their county clerk's office, or they can go on that same website and you can look up, if your address is up to date, if you had a name change, you could, if you don't remember, because there's different agencies that you can register to vote at, but if you can check your eligibility online as well.
Okay. And sometimes I just look up, Kentucky voter registration, or if you don't know,
Google,
just Google it, and it'll come up that site where you can Go Vote Kentucky, isn't it? Is what you call it?
It's govotekentucky.com.
GoVoteKentucky.com. If you look that up, I mean, if you look up voter registration, it'll come up.
Yes.
And if you're like me, you can't remember all that.
I know. I like Google and Bing.
Yeah.
I use them quite often.
Yeah.
So.
And so, and then, so that is the deadline to register to vote. Now, what about the deadline if you want to change party affiliation?
Now, that's December 31st. That has not been changed in Kentucky. So, well, this didn't, from primary. The cutoff for the primary, because that is where you vote your party.
Vote your party.
That's December 31st. But you can change your party before this deadline of October 7th, and there's no effect.
Well, there's no effect
you vote,
because you've already,
yeah, you
because
don't,
there's no primary coming up.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, because now, of course, in the general election, you can vote for, say you're a registered Democrat, you can vote Republican if you want,
yes,
or independent, or whatever.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, you have the right to vote for any party, whatever party registration you are.
Right.
So, in the general election. And so then you got to, oh, and then of course, if you're not going to be around on the day of the election, November the 4th, 5th, November 5th, then you can...
You could apply for an absentee ballot. If you are unable to come to our office, we'll have the voting machine, the absentee voting machine set up by October 18th. I may have it set up a few days prior to that if I get all the machines inspected by that time. But if you're going to be out of town, if there's some type of medical reason where you can't make it to the polls, if you're a student that you basically live on campus, any of the working hours that we're open, and we'll have 2 Saturdays as well that will be open for the absentee voting. You can come in and actually vote on the machine. If there's no times that you can make it to come in and vote on the machine, we have a process where you can get a paper ballot. Or if you're disabled and you can't get out of your home, or if you're a family member of someone that's in nursing home but are eligible to vote in the county, you can call our office and request that, and we can send out a paper ballot.
Okay, great. And then you have to fill out that application, send it back in, and then when it's time for, then you'll send them out an absentee ballot to fill out.
It is a process, so you have to send the application out first, and you have to do it by mail. We have to receive it back in the mail, the snail mail. When we get that back, we'll process it, send your ballot as timely as we can. The turnaround, we're supposed to get them out in just a few days after we receive the application. We send all the envelopes, all the instructions, so that you can get that back in before the election.
So can you come into the office and fill it out?
No. You can request, like say a parent for a child or vice versa, you can come in or call and request it, or you can call and request it in person. But we have to get some information from you, send out. We can't hand you the application.
You can't hand that application. It has to be sent in the mail.
It's supposed to be mailed direct to the voter so that, to ensure that the voter gets it. And then the ballot definitely has to go through the mail. We've got to send out how many, the post office has to certify how many we're sending out, and just so that there's not like a bunch sent out and there's no way of making sure that they're legit. So
yeah. Okay. And then let's see, and then of course you will have the voting machine set up in the office by October the 18th, maybe a few days before.
We'll put that in the paper and try to get that out on Facebook. If we can get it set up before that, we'll have it available for people that
Channel 6 might be able to get that on as well. And then, so is there anything else on voter registration we need to know?
Not really. Just get out and register and vote, please. I mean, it's so important. I know, people get frustrated with sometimes the process, but, if you're not sure about your voter registration, or if you're registered, or if you've updated, please call and just take the time to call our office or check online.
Okay. So, and Teresa, to call your office would be,
It's 859-336-5425.
and that's the Washington County Clerk, which is, it's in the phone book, or you can Google it too, I'm sure.
Yes, we're working on a website. We currently do not have a website, but we're working on that. That's something that's going to be a part of the grant money that I've been awarded for the office.
Oh, good.
So we're gonna get us a
Teresa?
website. We're gonna get some online records. It's real exciting.
Man.
Try to get
Are you going to
updated.
automate things, Teresa? That's,
Yeah, yes.
I know that's been something that, some of the people that have run for that office have talked about doing, is automating the office. Some of our former county clerks might have been a little old school. And I know how that is myself.
Well, change is hard. I mean, it after you get over the difference and you get it set up, it's well worth it.
Yeah. So you received a grant
Yes.
that is going to allow you to start a website and then also do
Well, the
automatic record, the automated records.
it's gonna actually, where our office right now, we have a good system. It's just a little bit outdated. We haven't been able to build upon it. But the grant, the biggest part of the grant is for a whole new land records indexing system. So it also, as part of its features, it has where we can put those records online, where the people can search, if they want to search their deeds
So
or
the
just are
deeds.
interested in a house, they can go online and view all that. But part of it is getting a website established. That the company that we got, the vendor that we're going with, will have a website. They'll have all the links to all these things, like everything.
It'll be on your web page, but there'll be links to all those things that you can look up.
Right, any aspect of the office, like where you can renew your vehicle online now. If everything's in order, your insurance is up to date, you can actually, for an additional fee, there's like a processing fee through the state, but you can go online, and it's drive.ky.gov, where you can actually, if you can't get in the office on the times we're open, you can renew your vehicle registration. We'll get the information, process it for you, and send it out direct to you. But that's what I'm hoping. The website will have all the information there and a lot of links and
so that'll be good if you can't get into the office. Now I know, for a lot of people, working people, it is hard to get into the office Monday to Friday from 8. What's the office hours?
It's actually 9 to 4:30.
9 to 4:30.
And then we open the second Saturday of each month, 9 to 12.
Okay, so that's good, because there needs to be, some hours that people can get in when they're, Are there any late hours?
No.
No late hours?
No late hours.
Well, might be something to consider, Teresa. So tell me some of the other things going on with the office.
Well, some of the other things we do, we're involved with fiscal court. We handle the minutes for that. So I actually still do the minutes. I was doing them prior. So we take care of that and make sure that they're on permanent record. On the back end of it, which a lot of people don't see, that the taxes that we collect on the motor vehicles, we actually disperse to all the special districts. So like the library, the health department, the extension office.
Yeah.
So we collect the taxes
everybody gets a part of those taxes.
Yes, we get those sent out to all the agencies.
And that's on motor vehicles and boats.
Boats, and then we also
Well, I guess they're considered a motor vehicle. Or watercraft.
Watercraft, yes.
Yeah.
And we also, whenever the taxes are turned over to us on your land taxes, after the sheriff's office does their monthly for so many months, they get turned over to us, and we take care of what the bad term, the delinquent land taxes. So after their deadlines of when you can pay, they get turned over to us, and we handle those.
On the delinquent
land taxes on your
property,
real estate.
On your really?
Yeah.
And that's turned over to you after the sheriff's department. I thought they did all the delinquent.
No, they do the current, like the year. It'll start in October and it'll go through April, and then in April we actually get all the ones that haven't been paid.
Oh, okay.
And handle those.
And then you have to try to. Well, then they would come in and pay
through our office.
I see. Okay. Okay. Well, Teresa, are there, so that website sounds really good, and that I know those are some, might have been, that was one issue you had on your platform, I know, when you were running for office, automation. And is there anything else that you want to accomplish in this position?
Well, I want to be as informative as I can. We're kind of the first step for a lot of things. So I want to be up to date on what requirements are. I mean, it seems like it's just changing so fast. When there's new laws, when they have the new session or have the sessions, it kind of trickles down to us and what's required of the individuals. So I just want to be informative and efficient. Part of this land record system, it's going to make our turnaround a lot better. So I'm wanting to be, where I can give the correct information.
And cordial to the public.
Correct. Yes. Actually, I enjoy. It's been hard. Just personally, I like waiting on the public, and I still do, and I like that. It's just when you're clerk, you've got a lot of stuff, meetings you got to go to, and things you got to do out of the office, and I miss that. But I still get to wait on people. So.
And now you have in your office, who's your deputy clerk?
Mary Smith, which she worked with Glenn. Brett Berry and Keely Kelly, they're all full-time. And then I have Connie Mikowski that comes in 3 days a week. She's basically frontline motor vehicle. Okay. And then I get Janine Warren, which she worked for Bubba before I was there. She comes in when I'm a little short-handed or just have a lot going on. She does a lot of things to help out.
Well, good. And so you're in our 1816 courthouse, and I know they've opened up some more space maybe for you all.
We got, it was actually the downstairs, it was a bathroom at the time, and they fixed it up to where I'll have more storage room. So my plan is, and I found out you can't do everything real quick, but I want to get it more organized downstairs with the older records, kind of get them categorized, which they're in good shape. But we've got a lot of stuff that kind of need our storage area to be in one area, and then our search room, kind of have it more separate.
Yeah.
And part of that grant, I got some new shelving and a new, it's a desk with shelving underneath it. So I'm hoping that will, and we're actually running out of room of our upstairs where you still have to make the hard copies of your recordings. So I had to do something because we're going to have to move some of the, records, the oldest ones that are upstairs, downstairs, to free up some space because we've outgrown ourselves. But
is there another? Is they're going to find you some more space?
Well, eventually I think there may be something to do with expanding the current building or looking at, and the county has looked over time to try to figure out what would be the best option because you want to stay downtown. You don't really want to. Right. So that's there. It's just just a long process to get that done. But yeah, eventually we'll need that for sure.
Well, and now you still have the marriage bond of Thomas and.
We do. It's under lock and key and a fireproof.
Thomas Abraham Lincoln's parents. It's in the vault.
And we keep it in a fireproof file cabinet under lock and key. There's one you can view down in the museum, which that's what we prefer.
Yeah.
To keep this one in safe.
To keep the original.
Yeah.
And I think the museum in D.C. Don't they have a copy?
Library of Congress.
Library of Congress.
I believe so. At one time, and I may not know for sure, but at one time I think they held it, and then they returned it back to the county.
Okay.
But that's the story I've been told, but I'm not 100% on that. So we're the actual, since it was started here, but at one time I think they were the owner. The Library of Congress was the owner.
Is that
and I may be wrong. Carol Kelly may correct me.
I'll have to clarify that with Carol.
He may.
He's coming on the show next.
Okay.
So
well, you might want to do that because I'm sure he will know more about that.
I was thinking there was something on that at one time. That's why I had to ask. So, yeah. Okay, well, Teresa, I want to thank you very much for being here,
Well,
and congratulations to you
Thank you.
and your new position. And it doesn't seem like really new because you've been there for so long. So it's good to see a familiar face.
Well, thank you.
And the girls, of course, that worked there before are still there.
We have a great staff. Yes.
Good staff. And so if anyone has any questions for the county clerk, Teresa Marnin, they can call.
859-336-5425.
So thank you very much
Well,
for
thanks
being
for having
here.
having me. Appreciate it.